taking notes, you always want to make sure that you put either up in the left-hand corner or right-hand corner today's date, which is 9/18. Okay, so today is September 18th. The reason why I want you to put down your date is because of the fact that you can always go back and look and see if it was in our section or if you were basically which day you were gone or what notes or whatever, so that way you know when we took them. All right, the other thing I want you to do is to always write down the section that we're in. So we're in what is science. Okay, so that's the title of the section that we're working with, or the cycle that we're in. All right, so as we go through this, the whole time I want you to be thinking about big picture, the whole year type stuff. And as we go through, science is all about curiosity. All right, it equals science. And so whenever we talk about science, we're talking about curiosity. I want you to be curious about things. Right? And when you're curious about things, you're going to do things like ask questions. You're going to run experiments and test ideas. Okay? So as I go through the notes, like I'll sometimes write a couple things up there, then I'll slow down and let you get caught up and all that stuff. But curiosity is science. That's really what it is. And what I want you to be able to do is ask questions and run experiments and test ideas and come up with answers. Okay, so that's really what science comes down to. It's asking difficult questions. It's solving problems. It's running experiments. It's test ideas. It's coming up with answers that you have. Okay? Now, science is knowledge. Okay, science is knowledge. It's knowing how things work. And it's also a method you use to find that knowledge. Okay, so science is knowledge, because it's knowing how things work, and it's a method that we use to find that knowledge. Science begins with curiosity and ends with discovery. Okay, so science begins with curiosity, being curious about something, and it ends with discovery, which means that you find the answer to what you were looking for. Now, science by itself can't just exist. The one that you're probably most familiar with is going to be technology. Okay? And technology is this idea that you are going to use knowledge to solve practical problems. Okay, so we're going to use technology to help us to solve our problems that we have. So if you think for a second, there used to be a problem that people lived in different cities and were not able to communicate with each other. Okay, so if you think about the problem of having people in different cities and not a way to communicate other than through basically a telegram, right? So what sorts of technology did they come up with to be able to communicate for people in different cities? Yep.
The phone.
Okay, they came up with a phone, all right? What else? Yeah. Tablet. Now you have email possibilities on there. Josh?
Sometimes computers.
Okay, computers that have the email or messenger on them. Yep. iPods, all right? You're able to send a text message maybe through those too, yeah.
Video.
Okay, so that's an example of technology, all right? So basically, they came up with ideas to solve because they were curious on what can we do to be able to communicate with somebody else that's in a different city, all right? So how are we going to do it? We have to get knowledge through technology. So you cannot have science without having technology. You can't have technology without having science, okay? When you think about cars, all right, think about a car for a second. Think about how they used to be to where they are now. What are some of the things that have changed with cars since a long time ago? Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say they have Wi-Fi in some cars now.
Yeah, Wi-Fi. All right, what else?
They got faster.
Okay, they definitely go a lot faster. Yeah.
There used to be sports. There are sports cars still.
Uh-huh. Yep. They what? They look different, absolutely, yeah. They have Bluetooth, all right? They made them safer. They made them, yeah.
They have built-in GPS.
Built-in GPS, yeah. Bless you. Like the OnStar buttons, okay? All of that stuff, yeah.
They're cooler.
Yeah, they look cooler. They maybe even cooler in general. They now have heat and air conditioning in them, yeah.
They're nicer quality.
Okay, nicer quality. They're built to last longer. Yeah.
The windows roll down.
The windows roll down, absolutely. And you have to push just a button and it goes down. Even better, yeah.
They have a radio.
All right, radios in there, yeah. All right, some of them have TVs that are in there, like the little screens or whatever. So you get the idea. They changed them because of the fact that they were curious. How can we build this car to be faster, to be more built for people's wants and needs, all right? And so what they discovered is that you have to increase the technology. Think about a space shuttle for a second. When they were trying to get a space shuttle to go to the moon, they knew that they had to be able to get enough power to thrust it up. They also knew that they had to be able to go through the different layers of our atmosphere. They knew that they had to be able to get it back, and all of that was built on technology, all right? So you cannot have science without technology, and you cannot have technology without science, all right? Now, when we talk about science, you're going to see that oftentimes it gets broken down into branches of science, okay? And as you travel through your middle and high school years, you're going to see that there are two different types of sciences. There is what we call social science, okay? These ones you will start to study more so at the high school, okay? That's when you start to get into your psychologies and your philosophy and your politics and government type of things. Like you'll be able to study all of this. Okay. Ooh, I don't know what I just did there, but what you're going to discover is that these ones are some of your electives that you'll have. But as you travel through middle school and high school, you will be required to take what is known as natural sciences. Okay, so you'll be required to take natural sciences. And the natural sciences break off into a couple of different groups. Okay, there is what we know as being physical science. There is what is going to be known as earth science. Okay, and then there's going to be another one that we call life science. Okay? And this year, we will get into quite a few of these different areas. All right? So for example, we will study some physics in here. We will look at Newton's different laws and how they work. We will look at some gravity things. We will look at some forces. We will also study some chemistry. So we will take a look at what matter is, how matter reacts and changes through chemical reactions. We'll look at some atom stuff. In terms of earth science, we will spend some time in meteorology.
Yes.
Okay, which is dealing with weather. Okay? And then life science, we will spend some time in what is known as ecology. And we will dabble a little bit in some biology. Okay, so these are your areas that we will study this year. Okay? I'm just going to move it a little bit back up for you. Or maybe not. I don't know why it's so sensitive. All right, so those are your areas and branches that we will look at this year. Now, to kind of put a little ending to all of this, is that I want you to remember, and I challenge you, this year, to be curious. Ask questions. Be skeptical when you hear something that you don't believe. And then the last one, I'm going to save here for a second. All right? But I want you to be curious, ask questions, and when you hear something that you don't necessarily believe, look further into it. And the last one I think is the most important one, which is believe that you can change the world of science. Okay, believe that you can do something that is going to ultimately change the way that things work, or discover something that you can ultimately see a change in. Okay, so this is your challenge this year. Okay, I want you to be able to, by the end, as we go through labs, be curious about it. That question that we had, which heats up warmer, with salt or without salt? You now know the answer to that. Can you apply that to your real life? Absolutely. All right, so be curious about it. Ask questions. Somebody put in their form that they had sent me, why is it that the salt has a higher boiling point than without the salt? That's a great question. Keep asking those questions. When you hear something that you don't believe, be skeptical. All right, ask the question, I don't know if I necessarily believe that. If you don't believe it, look further into it. And then honestly believe that you can go into the field of science and honestly make great changes. All right? So that is the end of the notes.